Life insurance is one of the most difficult areas in which to build a predictive model because of the sheer lack of data, right? We've got a lifetime that we're covering, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and one death, maybe. And we also don't necessarily save data from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and if we did, is that even relevant? Probably not, because we've seen so many changes in healthcare, in quality of life, that life expectancy today isn't what it was 40 years ago.
You know, I'm working with a company now who they only want to ask 7 questions to issue a term life policy. To do something like that, you have to be able to have access to data, other databases behind the scene that help you build a picture about that person based on those 7 questions.
One challenge, I think, for me in the insurance industry is a lack of understanding and knowledge about what data is out there and how it's being used by other industries, and how it's very commonplace and well understood that it is permissible or okay to use it as long as you're benefiting the consumer.
A lot of implications of what's being done outside of insurance and finance and some of the big data space. I think HR, workforce analytics, predictive analytics groups can learn a lot by looking at data privacy issues. Okay, how are these other groups handling some of these questions around data privacy? How are they handling these questions around, where do we use the data? What's the appropriate data? Can we share the data?
The industry also tends to be very conservative. So sometimes we have a little bit of fear on the risk side of the fence, on the legal side of the fence, understandably. Some companies don't want to be the first one out of the gate, because they want to make sure this will sort of be accepted in the marketplace versus ending up on the front page of the New York Times saying, company X uses your credit score to calculate your life insurance premium.
If you go into a life insurance executive or C-suite, a lot of it is just telling them what other industries doing, and say, how is this driving value? How is this market leading? And how can we apply this in one form or fashion? Maybe we can't just do a copy and paste from one to the other, but how can we take certain elements of that to our business model?
The regulators are starting to get involved to understand who owns this data, how's it being used, are they adversely selecting against consumers, are they treating them fairly in their underwriting criteria. So it's starting to blossom into this huge issue. It's going to be a very interesting times.